this is the first of many conversations that will be had under the brand Angel Alchemy. And this is the first one with Corey. So I hope you all enjoy this and stay tuned because there'll be a lot more coming.
I will get this working. Like, this is gonna work for now, though.
I got my shoulder cranked, so I was literally just gonna play with these until we had stuff ready to go. Because this just it heals your body.
So explain to me what this is.
Right now I'm playing with these are, well, this isn't a Persian club, but this is a mace. So he's 4 kilograms. And it is the only exercise modality I've found that gives you all of the big three, which is strength, muscle hypertrophy, muscle size and definition, as well as functional range of motion. Usually, in any other ways that we generally train, like you have to compromise one or the other, and then take time either regressing and putting other emphasis on, what you're like. If I'm just doing Olympic style barbell lifts, eventually I'm going to become stiff as all get out, and I'm going to need to take time for mobility training, movement training, and basically I'll need help. What's amazing about these is that I can get all of those things without having any of that. So I'm doing my rehab, my prehab. I'm getting more functional awareness of my body, so I'm cultivating proprioception. It's a ballistic style exercise, which means I both start or initiate emotion, and then I'm stopping it on the other side as well. So it's teaching you the whole time you're playing. Like when I have this tool in my hands, he's like helping me essentially like cultivate consciousness, dude. I'm in this club as I'm swinging them. And it's fun with this one because all of the weight is here at the very end of it. So I have shoot, like torque basically on this, and it makes it's interesting compared to, I don't know, like traditional clubs or stuff like that. But I have some of those too. So right now I'm warming up. This is my light mace, and essentially what I'm trying to do is find a way to anchor from my shoulders all the way down through my hips, through my legs, into my big toes.
And this is an exercise then.
This is, yep, she's exercise tool. The way that I swing it, inside circles are for sport and working out. Outside circle exercises are for like war and fighting. And it's cool because like these tools were developed before the kettlebells back in like ancient Persia. And that's back when we would like fight wars with like wooden clubs before the Iron Age. So if you were to see like depictions of like, a lot of like old Middle Eastern gods or Hindu gods and stuff, you'll see them holding, across their chest an X, like what looks like maracas. They're not actually, maracas. They're clubs. They're war clubs. So it's like super duper versatile tool for doing all different kinds of training.
So, you want to explain like who you are and what you do a little bit?
Yeah, I could do that. Maybe I should. Maybe I could put the club down. So I know you know me, but my name is Corey. Geez, a little bit about me. I've been an avid martial artist. I'm a very an active father. How do I describe me without role? Man, I'm a person. I'm just another person that's really finding their way doing stuff. Things I enjoy playing with. I enjoy grappling. I enjoy combat arts. I enjoy finding platforms or ways that we can all share ourselves in more raw, authentic expressions. I'm someone who loves and appreciates conversation, language, and nomenclature, but I also am aware of like bullshit. So I enjoy things that are conversations to be had that are through, energetic responses, which I find like in combat arts. I grew up with a really loud, explosive household. I find a certain peace in being able to essentially, anxiety and a lot of the ADHD things that I had got diagnosed with from difficult, younger times. I get to turn those things into superpowers through doing jujitsu. Really, I'm a modern day alchemist, a polymath.
Absolutely. Yes.
I plan on being here to help people. What I do now is I used to work in the cannabis industry. I help people with the plants. I realized that in the corporate setting, I didn't get to help individuals the way I would have liked to. So now I currently work with, I gave myself to my other passions. I teach group fitness classes. I guess you could call it personal training, though I myself am not a personal trainer. I would call myself a skill acquisition or strength coach. And I help people move better. I know that the name of the game isn't who's the best, but it's, who's here the longest.
Yeah.
So my goal is to keep people happy, healthy, and moving, able to do and be themselves for longer periods of time.
And
I
that's
enjoy
like
any way I can help people.
that's massive. That's what the world needs, is to heal. Because you're taking like, it might be like yoga or the jujitsu or the strength training, but it's literally getting people in their bodies and tapping into their emotions without even knowing that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You're healing them.
Especially for men. I happen to be a man in this
Right.
life, so I'm a big advocate for, especially men nowadays, men's mental health. That we need places that we can gather and be expressive. I have a lot of pride in, from what I've been told, a lot of times looking like a tough guy or a not approachable type of person. And really, I'm the first person to want to give you a hug. First person to tell you that I cry and feel things a lot, and it's important. And our body holds on to those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have different ways, and we have different modalities we can use for release. We do a lot of stuff we work with, like cannabis. We do different breathwork modalities. We could do, I could be training in combat arts or, chit chatting. I am not a therapist, but I've experienced a lot of like cognitive behavioral therapy. Opening a door for conversation, to be somebody that you can talk to about things. Because nowadays, if you ask men who do they have to talk to or who do they talk to about things, and like I don't remember what studies, like 7 out of 10 will tell you no one. That's a pretty scary number.
Yeah. And that's what the biggest issue is all this repression. People aren't feeling, so it's getting pent up, causing all this disease. Because they say like, yes, we're exposed to like the chemtrails and the poisons in the food and the water, but our body can get rid of that if we actually deal with the other stuff, the emotional stuff, the energetic stuff that gets stuck. So it's them together, the poisons, us taking that and then our body not being able to get rid of that because energetically it's stuck and blocked up. It's not flowing.
100%. I had a beautiful conversation with two ladies came to my kettlebell and yoga class this morning, and we got a good workout in. And one of them was telling me that she has issues with her shoulder being sore. She's a hairstylist, and so like, we did a couple, cars, controlled articulate rotations exercises to test and see her like mobility, range of motion in your shoulder, and I did some poking around and feeling it there. And the first thing I could tell her that I told her is I was like, well, Linda, our body holds on to a lot of, emotional and energetic things where we can, like, consciously or subconsciously put a lot of difficult things away. Our body keeps score. And so I was like, that's something I could tell her I know about you now, and just touch and feel on your shoulders, that you have been put in like a lot of masculine roles, and, like, not to speak on good or bad or what people should or shouldn't do, or what,
Right.
life put you in those positions. But I'm like, that's for women. You're going to carry that on your shoulders. What I mean? So I was like, you're probably put in a position where you need to provide something monetary, something safety, something, that's not your job.
Right.
And I was like, this would be where you would hold on to stuff like that. It's difficult. And if you continue to have to do things like that, I was like, this is where you would continue to have issues. And she almost got emotional,
Oh, I
and, like,
bet.
you're putting those connections and stuff together.
And you got
And
that from just touching her shoulder?
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, and a lot of women, they're over emasculated. It's like inverted feminine and inverted masculine, and the middle path or the middle way, like the balance is what we're looking for on
there's a
some.
heavy dark feminine that's like overcasting a lot of shit right now.
Yes. Yep. And a lot of women have this. Even if they look feminine and carry themselves in a feminine way, their their energy is over masculine. This whole feminist movement, like, obviously, yes, women can do certain things, but there has to be a balance, and they're kind of pushing out the masculine. You know what I mean?
Well, they
So,
outsource it in other ways. Men are just as confused. I seen a terrible video today about, like, a man with, like, some super drag makeup trying to talk to kids about kids' opinions on men wearing makeup. And little
yeah,
kids telling you, yeah, boys shouldn't really do that. And then something, and an adult getting
examples.
angry with a kid for being fucking, like, I just, it's sick to me, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of books and a lot of other, there's a lot of people's books that'll point out and talk about things like this happening in this time. And it's
Mhm.
really unfortunate because we have emasculated men. We have a lot of passive men. We have people who are addicted to short term, and the quick dopamine hits, and whether that's checking Facebook or looking at my phone or doing, we have, people that are plugged in, and or so we have men that are not real men.
Yeah.
Western
And they're
society,
programmed that way.
we're programmed that way. Yeah. And there's no trial. There's no test of of doing something difficult, to have her to become a man.
Right.
We don't
Yeah.
we don't have any, there's no rite of passage. There's no
Right.
something difficult that people have to do or have to go through. And then we are put in a position where society, we don't live that way, or that's not a necessity. So it's a lot easier to forget that those things are integral and important in being human beings.
Yeah. And not to mention all of the stuff like the hormones and the medicines that are throwing people's hormones off. That I think I've talked to you about this before, about the boys getting boobs from certain medications and certain hormones that are being injected into our food. And a lot of them are like the ADHD medications, so they're giving them to smaller children. Well, it's the same concept with this whole trans thing. They're feeding them hormone blockers, messing with their hormones. And this all has to do with the pineal gland, which is the seat of the soul, I believe. So it's not just messing with people physically. This is spiritually messing with things for people, because we need to find balance of the masculine
It'll
and
change
feminine
everything about them.
being hijacked. I'm sorry,
We've
what did
been
you say?
doing it to women, unfortunately, a lot longer.
Yeah, with the birth control.
I'll say, yeah, with birth control, it's been, that's been going on forever. It's super important for. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's one of the quick, easy things that could tie that there has to be some truth and understanding to astrology and people's emotional or energetic state, on the planet at certain times. I mean, like, is it coincidental that women, could get together in tribe and that they all bleed together at the same time, like right before the full
Right.
moon? If you're on a normal, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy to me. And that's so important about, like, with women and knowing their lady times, like with when you're fertile, when you're gonna be upset, when you might be having more, you know, trying or difficult thoughts or like time, processes. Like being aware and tapped into your body in that regard can tell you a ton about the things that you might be going on, that might be going on the day to day.
Yeah. And not to mention, so that whole moon time thing, a lot of women have problems like the PMS, the cramping, because of the products they're using and because their body's not healthy. Since I started using different teas to balance my hormone levels, and I'm not using the tampons and pads and stuff that have
Yeah.
poisons in them that literally seep out into the walls of, your sexual organ and poison you. And that was causing the cramping. And so now I barely even feel it when I have my moon time. And I'm right on time with the moon too.
Yep.
So a lot of that can be avoided too, just being healthy, dealing with your emotional and spiritual health as well, because it's all tied together. The split of it's the big problem. We've split everything up, and then people don't even know their spiritual side.
It's terrifying. And I
Yeah.
mean, if they do, I feel like it's in a lot of ways, the only way that people get it turned on to it or open to it is through, unfortunately, like, structural indoctrination of like a bigger religious institution or some kind of like culturally appropriated thing, like if you grow up in, like Jehovah's Witnesses or, some diehard Mormons or something.
Right.
People don't get like a dose of spirituality as a sense of individuality, a sense of God and being as a state of being, as a
Right.
tapping into consciousness that we innately have, that everything innately has.
Right. Yeah, it's been externalized, been put out there instead of like right here.
Yeah. Working with the plants helps with that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been microdosing. I'm on my break right now. You take like 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, and it has helped me tremendously to really, and it literally helps you with neuroregenesis. So it literally is helping me rewire my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So
It,
like
it,
going,
it breeds awareness and consciousness.
yeah, creates new synapses, because when we have these negative thought, beliefs, and patterns, it's a synapse in the brain. It's been, we've been doing it for so long, it's like ingrained in there. So when you take this medicine in small doses with other mushrooms like lion's mane and B12, it actually helps you to reroute those synapses, the neurogenesis. And then you have to do like your instructions and writing, and there's other things to it. You don't just take it, it's like a miracle. But like it really, really has helped me to slow down and really observe things and to overcome so much. It's a miracle, really. And then cannabis is amazing too with that stuff.
Well, yep, I have used mushrooms microdosing for the past like 6 years since my mom has passed away.
Oh
And
yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, if I didn't have that, that would be something I wouldn't be here. As an homage to that, I got my mom's ashes done and some psilocybin mushrooms growing out of my ribs and a little tattoo had done by JR. It's had a lot to. They're amazing. They've done all my portrait work and any and all of my tattoos realistically. Very good stuff.
It really helps you like slow down and really like process.
What way would you say helps you with processing?
like when I'm when I have, so when I'm microdosing and I have these, well, I notice, and I have these like these emotional outbursts. I don't know what to call it, but it's like these thoughts will come up, these beliefs, and I'll start to spiral if I'm not on the medicine. But when I took the medicine, I found it a lot easier to step back, slow down, and breathe through it and really observe the thoughts.
Oh, I love that wording.
It
I love
helped me
that.
slow down. It really helped me like to analyze everything and see it for what it was and not the mirage or story I was putting on it. You know what I mean? And right there,
100%.
at the belief, and you change it in the moment and you accept it as it is and not be hard on yourself and all that stuff, then you literally change it. So then you keep choosing differently. And it helped me to do that. And I believe like having the medicine rewired my brain. And obviously I'm a work in progress, still going, but it's
Well, it's
like,
fun when we can ingest that that substance and take on or feel its sense of consciousness working synergistically with ours. Like all of the plants have a unique way of working that way. Like if
right,
just in regards to like cannabis and mushrooms, I love your wording and the way you experience and have put that statement is because it's very similar to my own. It's what I've read and seen a lot in people that have, put anecdotal experiences online under like Dr. James Fadiman's, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a logbook thing online. People who document their, journal experiences under microdosing, but it's very common, and that's what I hear a lot. It's what I personally experience too. Like Mother Mushroom works in the sense of it gives us a broader window of observation around emotional triggers and things. It allows us to see them, to look at them for what they are, to see how we would normally respond, and give us an opportunity to choose to operate or to respond and react differently. Or maybe that may, in that sense, be to not react at all
right?
and to
Yeah,
not allow her to have an emotional. And then what's interesting is, like you said, what's in that when we're in that space, there's opportunity for once we've done that once, it gets easier to build up momentum and to continue, making that same choice because it helps make, that choice in the moment is a lot more aware and a lot more in alignment with, how we want to show up and how we want to be. It's cool because it's completely the opposite in the way cannabis is going to work with you. Like cannabis, rather than give you that window of observation, cannabis is going to show up to you by allowing you to re-experience and feel those emotions deeply. You can expect to pay attention during that time when you sit to observe when you have those emotions come up, memories and things will come up with them too. That's cannabis giving you an opportunity then to think of and to extract different things from what was difficult then. Because in the goal or if they were to come up in ceremony or in session when then your consciousness or you where you are now, you're ready with the answers that you didn't have when you were there and it was uncomfortable. So cannabis is going to give you an opportunity to re-experience and re-feel those things and go back there to extract what you need to either learn from it or to come back with what you have learned now and kind of bring that part of yourself back home.
right.
Tell you that it's okay and take you back out of there. You don't have to stay anymore. You know,
That's what it's done for me too.
you'll
My
feel
only
that
thing
change in your
is
body
what the
too. You
one
what?
sec. Nothing, keep talking. I got Jaden over here. 1 second.
No, I said, and it's cool because usually when that stuff happens and it is something that is of substance, you'll notice and have a somatic release as well. Your entire nervous system will let go. You're gonna I've even seen and experienced it myself in facilitating ceremony. People having what looks damn near like seizures, full convulsions, shaking, crying, you know, and it's important, like, because we need to take all those things and remove our labels from them. Like, that's all important and necessary. You know,
Right.
animals do it naturally.
Yeah.
We cry to release emotion, to let that go so that our body doesn't store it. Unfortunately, nowadays, we tell kids not to cry. You shouldn't
Right.
do that. You see animals have something traumatic happen to them, as terrible as it is, but as an example, like raccoon babies see the mom get hit or something by a car. they shake and they shiver and they, they wig out, traumatic things, unfortunately, like right now in the world, with what's going on over in the Middle East, like videos and things you see of those people, they're shaking and trembling.
Yeah.
That's a trauma response. It's our body's way of releasing that emotion because we're going through something that no one in there would have the tools of how to handle. We don't have we shouldn't have atrocities like that happening against people. But
No.
it's natural and normal. And so what our body is supposed to do things like that to protect us. We try to turn a lot, society tells us a lot, indoctrinate us into turning those things off or don't, not to do this, not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
By inviting other things like shame and guilt around it.
They want robots.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to work a 9 to 5. If I think I need all of this money and all of these things, and I don't know.
So
I'm grateful for like the country we live in, but my kids singing the Pledge of Allegiance in school even kind of wigs me out. I've got a lot of family in the military. I work closely myself with a lot of the military, and I don't say that taking away from anything that those people do and what they sacrifice. But it's weird to be doing that shit for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways they could learn and know about that rather than some communist type of shit.
Yeah. And it's never really been free. We've never really been free. Even back when we got our first president, George Washington, and all this stuff, like the history, the winners tell the story, but the way they tell it is that, they fought the royals and the crown to make this free country. Yeah, they came over here to do that, but behind those men was the same entity, the same darkness that they were running from. So they maybe had a few years of freedom, but when the Federal Reserve came in, which was around the early 1900s, late 1800s, he who controls the money controls the people. So like, and even before that, we've never really been free. It's been thousands of years.
Well, look at the systemic changing of dumbing down of the English language, removing cursive writing.
Right.
How the fuck do I read the Constitution if I can't read cursive and they don't teach me cursive in school?
Oh, right. Well, and even the English language was made and designed as a spell to cast spells, the way our words are set up. That's why money has all water terms.
Yep.
Talks about flow because it's energetic. There's no value to that shit. It's except for what we give it. And unfortunately, people's belief in it is keeping it real. So that's like when I talk about abundance, it's not about getting more money per se, it's about real abundance. It's a lifestyle, it's an energetic state to be in abundance. And then things like money come.
Yep.
With